First contact in deep space. The vast emptiness of space stretched before the UES Leviathan like an endless canvas of stars. Commander Rohan Patel stood at the bridge's observation deck, his dark eyes reflecting the distant celestial bodies. The Leviathan represented humanity's greatest achievement in military engineering, a fusion-powered titan stretching nearly 2 kilometers in length, armed with gravitational weaponry that could tear apart small moons. Commander, we're detecting unusual energy signatures at bearing 227 Mark 043, Lieutenant Jasmine Wong announced from her sensor station. Her fingers danced across the holographic interface, bringing up detailed scans. It's unlike anything in our database. Rohan straightened his midnight blue uniform, adorned with the silver insignia of the United Earth Fleet. Analysis. The energy pattern suggests advanced propulsion technology, sir. Whatever it is, it's moving at speeds that should be impossible for its mass. Jasmine's voice carried a mix of professional detachment and barely contained excitement. Tactical assessment. Rohan turned to his weapons officer, Lieutenant Marcus Rivera. The vessel's defensive capabilities appear minimal, Commander. No obvious weapon signatures. Though with unknown technology, we can't be certain. Marcus kept his hands hovering over his console, ready to raise shields at a moment's notice. Rohan nodded slowly. First contact scenarios were delicate situations, especially now that humanity had emerged from its cosmic isolation. The last decade had seen Earth transform from a fractured collection of nation-states into a unified planetary civilization, driven by the discovery of faster-than-light travel and the realization that they weren't alone in the universe. Open channels across all known frequencies. Let's introduce ourselves before they get nervous about our little welcome wagon. The Leviathan wasn't alone. Two smaller but equally impressive destroyers, the Artemis and the Phoenix, flanked their position. The response came almost immediately, materializing as a holographic projection in the center of the bridge. The alien figure stood nearly 2 meters tall, with iridescent skin that shifted colors like oil on water. 4 arms emerged from a slender torso, and multifaceted eyes studied the human crew with obvious curiosity. Greetings, vessel of unknown origin. I am Ambassador Thela Kvor of the Nexary Collective. We come seeking peaceful exchange of knowledge and culture. The universal translator rendered the aliens' musical language into precise English, though subtle harmonics suggested layers of meaning beyond mere words. Rohan stepped forward, maintaining the diplomatic posture drilled into him through countless simulations. I am Commander Rohan Patel of the United Earth ship Leviathan. We welcome peaceful contact with the Nexary Collective. Ambassador Thela's skin rippled with patterns that the ship's AI interpreted as indicating pleasure or satisfaction. Your vessel, it is most impressive, Commander. Our sensors suggest capabilities far beyond what we expected from a species so recently emerged into interstellar space. Humanity has learned to advance quickly, Ambassador. Necessity has been a powerful teacher. Rohan chose his words carefully, aware that this conversation would be analyzed by xenopolitical experts for years to come. Indeed. Perhaps that is why our long-range sensors detected the disturbance in this sector. We came to investigate, hoping to find. Thela paused, their skin darkening slightly. Hoping to find potential allies. Before Rohan could respond, Marcus's voice cut through the diplomatic exchange. Commander. Multiple hyperspace signatures detected. Massive energy spikes at coordinates 330 Mark 115. The space behind the Nexary vessel suddenly erupted with swirling vortexes of purple energy. Massive shapes emerged, angular vessels that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Their hulls bristled with weapon emplacements, and their very presence seemed to distort the fabric of space around them. Ambassador Thela's image flickered, their skin now pulsing with rapid patterns of alarm. Vraxan warships. Commander, your vessel is in grave danger. The Vraxan Imperium does not negotiate, they consume, conquer, and destroy. This is why we came. We detected their fleet's movement and hoped to warn any civilizations in their path. Rohan's training kicked in instantly. Battle stations. All hands to combat positions. Artemis and Phoenix, assume defensive formation Delta. Ambassador Thela, move your vessel behind our line. We'll handle this. Commander Patel, Thela's voice carried both warning and awe. There are 7 Vraxan dreadnoughts emerging. Even our most powerful military vessels cannot stand against such force. A slight smile crossed Rohan's face as he watched his crew snap into action, the Leviathan's massive engines humming to life with power that made the deck plates vibrate. Ambassador, I believe you're about to witness why humanity has survived every challenge thrown at us so far. We don't believe in impossible odds, we simply haven't found the right solution yet. The bridge lights dimmed to combat settings as the Vraxan fleet approached, their intentions clear in the charging of their weapon systems. Humanity's first major interstellar battle was about to begin, and the fate of 2 civilizations hung in the balance. As Rohan gave the order to power up the Leviathan's main guns, he couldn't help but think that this was exactly the kind of moment humanity had been preparing for since they first looked up at the stars and dreamed of reaching them. The hunters emerge. The Vraxan fleet moved with predatory grace, their obsidian ships forming an attack pattern that spoke of centuries of martial experience. Inside the Leviathan's bridge, Commander Patel watched tactical displays track the enemy's approach, his mind already formulating strategies. Analysis of enemy capabilities? Rohan asked, his voice steady despite the tension. Lieutenant Rivera's fingers flew across his console. Vraxan ships are heavily armored, sir. Energy readings suggest plasma-based weapons, but there's something else. Their hull composition seems to adapt to different energy frequencies. Remarkable technology, Ambassador Thela's hologram commented, their skin rippling with patterns of concern. The Vraxan evolved their ships during combat, learning from each engagement. This is why they've conquered 17 systems in the past cycle. Jasmine's voice cut through the conversation. Sir, we're being hailed by the Vraxan flagship. On screen, Rohan commanded, straightening his posture. The bridge view screen flickered to life, revealing a sight that made several crew members instinctively step back. The Vraxan commander appeared almost crystalline, with a faceted head that reflected light in impossible ways. When it spoke, its voice resonated like grinding metal. Lesser species, you occupy space destined for Vraxan expansion. Surrender your vessels and accept integration into the Imperium, or be eliminated. The creature's mouth didn't move, the words seemed to emanate from its entire being. Rohan stepped forward, his expression neutral. This is Commander Patel of the United Earth Fleet. We don't recognize your authority in this sector, and we don't respond well to threats. Withdraw your forces immediately. A sound like shattering glass echoed through the communication channel, apparently Vraxan laughter. Your species is young. Arrogant. You will learn submission, as all others have. The transmission cut off abruptly. Ambassador Thela's hologram flickered with agitation. Commander, please. You must retreat. The Nexari Collective has witnessed their battles, they show no mercy. Lieutenant Wong, status of our experimental systems? Rohan asked, ignoring the ambassador's plea. Quantum entanglement fields are stable, sir. Ghost Drive is primed and ready. All innovations are green across the board. Rohan allowed himself a small smile. Ambassador Thela, humanity has a saying, the best way to deal with a bully is to stand up to them. Marcus, deploy the drone swarm. Jasmine, prepare the Ghost Drive. Time to show our visitors why Earth's survival rate against hostile aliens remains at 100%. The space between the fleets suddenly came alive with thousands of tiny points of light, microdrones no larger than human fists, each equipped with miniaturized versions of the Leviathan's quantum technology. The Vraxan fleet responded immediately, unleashing a barrage of plasma fire that illuminated space like artificial stars. Ghost Drive engaging in 3, 2, 1. Jasmine called out. The Leviathan and its escort ships seemed to blur, their forms becoming indistinct as the quantum fields took effect. The Vraxen's plasma bolts passed harmlessly through their positions, hitting nothing but empty space. By the first light, Thela whispered, their skin pulsing with astonishment. How is this possible? Quantum ghosting, Rohan explained as his ships executed a perfect flanking maneuver. We exist in multiple quantum states simultaneously. Makes us rather hard to hit. He turned to Marcus. Target their lead ship's propulsion systems. Let's see how well they adapt to being stranded in deep space. The Leviathan's main guns powered up, gravitational forces condensing into focused beams of destructive potential. The Vraxen ships attempted to adjust their shields, but they were calibrated for energy weapons, not the fundamental forces of spacetime itself. The lead Vraxen dreadnought's engines imploded, crushed by artificial gravity wells that briefly shone brighter than stars. The massive ship began to drift, its crystalline hull crackling with failing power systems. Impossible. The Vraxen commander's voice boomed across all frequencies. Your technology, you cannot possess such advancement. Here's another human saying, Rohan responded, watching as his drone swarm began systematically disabling the remaining Vraxen ship's weapons. Never bring a knife to a gunfight. Especially when your opponent has rewritten the laws of physics. Ambassador Thela floated closer to Rohan's position, their four arms moving in complex patterns of respect and awe. Commander, in all our history, no species has ever. They paused as another Vraxen ship's systems went dark. You must tell me how your people advanced so quickly. Rohan watched the tactical display as the remaining Vraxen ships began to retreat, their supposedly invincible fleet thoroughly outmaneuvered by human innovation. Simple necessity, Ambassador. Earth has faced extinction-level threats 3 times in the past decade. We decided that wasn't acceptable, so we got creative. As the last Vraxen ship vanished into hyperspace, leaving their disabled companions behind, Rohan turned to face Thela's hologram fully. Now, I believe you mentioned something about seeking allies. I think we have quite a bit to discuss about the future of this sector of space. The ambassador's skin swirled with patterns that the ship's AI translated as excitement, hope, and a touch of fear. Humanity had just demonstrated why they had survived every cosmic challenge thrown at them so far. And this was just the beginning. Trial by fire. The aftermath of battle hung in space like invisible smoke. The Leviathan's bridge hummed with activity as damage reports and tactical analyses streamed in. 3 disabled Vraxen dreadnoughts drifted powerless, their crystalline hulls no longer pulsing with their characteristic energy signatures. Boarding teams report ready, Commander, Lieutenant Rivera announced. Dr. Priya Sharma from Xenobiology is standing by to examine their technology. Rohan nodded, studying the holographic display where Ambassador Thela's image showed signs of increasing agitation. Something troubles you, Ambassador? The Vraxen, they never retreat, Thela's skin rippled with dark patterns of worry. In all recorded encounters, they fight to the last ship. This withdrawal, it is unprecedented. Before Rohan could respond, Jasmine's voice cut through the tension. Multiple hyperspace signatures detected. Massive energy spike. Sir, they're coming back, and they've brought reinforcements. Space twisted and burned as over 20 Vraxen vessels emerged from hyperspace, their formations tighter and more aggressive than before. At their center loomed a ship that dwarfed even the previous dreadnoughts, a massive crystalline structure that seemed to bend light around itself. Quantum analysis of the new vessels, Rohan commanded, his voice calm despite the escalating situation. Sir, they've modified their hull structures, Jasmine reported, her fingers dancing across her console. They're generating some kind of quantum interference field. Our ghost drive, it might not work this time. Ambassador Thela's hologram flickered with patterns of despair. They've adapted. This is what makes them so formidable. Each encounter teaches them, makes them stronger. Good, Rohan said, surprising both his crew and the ambassador. That means they can learn. Lieutenant Wong, activate Project Prometheus. Deep within the Leviathan's quantum core, systems that had never been tested in actual combat hummed to life. The ship's AI began running calculations that pushed the boundaries of known physics. The massive Vraxan vessel's commander appeared on their view screen again, its crystalline features somehow conveying smugness. Your deception will not work twice, lesser beings. Submit now, and perhaps we will preserve some of your technology for study. Rohan stepped forward, a slight smile playing at his lips. You're right about one thing, we won't use the same trick twice. Humanity has a rather extensive playlist. Dr. Sharma, you're cleared to begin. On the disabled Vraxan ships, hidden quantum transmitters activated. Dr. Priya Sharma's voice came through the comm system, excitement evident in her tone. Nanite swarms deployed, Commander. The Vraxan biocrystal technology is fascinating. Their ships aren't just machines, they're living organisms. Living organisms that can adapt, Rohan mused. But that means they can also be infected. Execute Phase 2. The disabled Vraxan ships suddenly pulsed with new energy, not their normal crystalline glow, but a soft blue luminescence that began spreading through their structures like a viral infection. What are you doing? The Vraxan commander's voice carried an unfamiliar emotion, fear. Teaching you why humanity's biological warfare division is just as advanced as our physics department, Rohan replied. Those nanites aren't weapons, they're a civilization-wide vaccination program. Your ships are being evolutionarily redirected. The infected ships' crystal structures began reforming, their weapon systems transforming into more peaceful configurations. The change spread through quantum entanglement to the newly arrived fleet, carried by the Vraxan's own adaptive technology. You dare! The Vraxan commander roared, but its voice was weakening as its own flagship began to transform. This is impossible. Ambassador Thela, Rohan turned to the awestruck Nexari diplomat, you mentioned the Vraxan conquer and consume. We just changed their definition of consumption. Instead of absorbing civilizations through violence, their ships will now process and share scientific knowledge. They're being reprogrammed from parasites into symbionts. The massive Vraxan fleet hung in space, their ships now glowing with peaceful blue energy rather than their previous predatory gleam. The transformation was spreading through their entire network, carried by their own technological adaptation protocols. Humanity does not seek to destroy potential allies, Rohan broadcast to all ships. We seek to elevate them. Your species can now help unite the galaxy instead of conquering it. Consider it an evolutionary upgrade. Ambassador Thela's skin had shifted to patterns never before recorded in the ship's database. Commander Patel, in all our studies of emerging civilizations, we never imagined. Your species doesn't just survive threats. You transform them into opportunities. That's the thing about humanity, Ambassador. Rohan watched as the former Vraxan warships began transmitting signals of peace across all frequencies. We believe every problem has a solution. Sometimes you just have to think beyond conventional warfare. As the newly transformed Vraxan fleet began establishing peaceful contact protocols, Rohan couldn't help but smile. Earth had just gained not one, but two new allies in the cosmic community. And they did it not through superior firepower, but through the uniquely human combination of scientific innovation and the desire to find better solutions than simple destruction. Alliance forged in stars. The Leviathan's conference room buzzed with an energy unlike anything in human diplomatic history. Around the quantum-stabilized table sat representatives of three species, Commander Rohan Patel representing Earth, Ambassador Thela whose skin rippled with excited patterns, and the transformed Vraxan leader, Superior Vex, its crystalline form now emanating a peaceful blue glow. The transformation is complete across 97% of our fleet, Vex announced, its voice now melodious rather than grating. Our collective consciousness has been enlightened. We see now what we could not before. Dr. Priya Sharma sat beside Rohan, her dark eyes bright with scientific enthusiasm. The nanite integration exceeded our projections. The Vraxan ships aren't just peaceful, they're actively seeking ways to repair the damage they've caused across multiple systems. A remarkable achievement, Thela observed, their 4 arms moving in patterns of respect. But the remaining 3% of your fleet, superior Vex, those who escaped transformation. Rohan leaned forward, his fingers interlaced on the table. They'll be back. And they won't be alone. The old guard never accepts change without a fight. Let them come. Vex's crystalline features shifted in what they now recognized as determination. We understand now what real strength is. Not domination, but cooperation. The human way. Lieutenant Wong's voice interrupted through the comm system. Commander, long-range sensors are detecting multiple quantum disturbances. Much larger than anything we've seen before. Here we go, Rohan stood, addressing the gathered representatives. The real test begins. Superior Vex, are your transformed ships ready for combat? We are prepared to defend our new path, Vex responded, rising to its full height. Our weapons have been reconfigured for containment rather than destruction. We will help save our misguided brothers. Ambassador Thela's skin swirled with complex patterns. The Nexari Collective pledges our support as well. Our scientific vessels can amplify the transformation signal. The ship's AI displayed a tactical hologram above the table. Dozens of massive ships were emerging from quantum space, traditional Vraxan warships led by something new, a vessel nearly twice the size of anything they'd encountered before. The Genesis ship, Vex's voice carried recognition. They've awakened the first of our kind. The original sovereign consciousness of the Vraxan. Rohan studied the tactical display, his mind already formulating strategies. Dr. Sharma, can your nanites affect something that ancient? The older the consciousness, the more set in its ways, Priya mused, running calculations on her quantum pad. But also the more complex its adaptation protocols. If we can trigger those protocols, then the transformation could be even more complete, Rohan finished. He turned to his allies. I have a plan, but it's going to require perfect coordination between all 3 of our species. The massive enemy fleet approached, their weapons charging with enough power to shatter planets. The Genesis ship pulsed with ancient energies, its very presence distorting space-time. The plan? Thela asked, their skin now showing patterns of battle readiness. The Vraxan adapt to survive, correct? So we show them a future where peace is the only viable survival option. Rohan activated the ship's general comm, all hands, prepare for dimensional shift protocols. We're about to show our visitors every possible future simultaneously. As the crew rushed to battle stations and their allies coordinated their forces, Rohan allowed himself a moment of reflection. Humanity had come so far from its early days of looking up at the stars in wonder. Now they were about to attempt something never before seen in the galaxy's history, the peaceful conversion of an entire warrior species through the power of human ingenuity and cooperation. The final battle was about to begin, but this time, victory wouldn't be measured in ships destroyed or territory claimed. It would be measured in minds changed and futures saved. Turning point. The void of space erupted with unprecedented energy as 3 civilizations united against the ancient power of the Vraxan Genesis ship. The Leviathan led the defense, its quantum systems pushing the boundaries of known physics. Alongside it, the transformed Vraxan ships glowed with peaceful blue energy, while Nexari vessels wove complex patterns through space, amplifying Dr. Sharma's transformation signals. Genesis ship is broadcasting, Lieutenant Wong announced, her voice tense. They're demanding direct communication. Rohan nodded, and the bridge view screen flickered to life. The being that appeared was unlike any Vraxan they'd seen, a massive crystalline entity that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Its voice resonated through reality itself. Defilers of our perfect evolution, the Ancient One's words carried millennia of contempt. You dare corrupt our children with weakness? Not weakness, Rohan responded, standing tall. Growth. Dr. Sharma, initiate the dimensional shift. Deep within the Leviathan's quantum core, experimental systems activated. Space itself seemed to fragment around them as Priya's voice came through the calm, dimensional overlay active. Showing them all possible futures, now. The Genesis ship faltered as its ancient consciousness was suddenly bombarded with visions, countless timelines where the path of conquest led only to eventual extinction. Simultaneously, it witnessed futures where cooperation and peaceful evolution led to achievements beyond even its ancient understanding. Impossible. The Ancient One's voice wavered. These futures, they cannot. They can and they will, Rohan declared. Superior Vex, now. The transformed Vraxan ships moved in perfect harmony, their new peaceful energy connecting with the quantum field generated by the Leviathan. The Nexary vessels added their own scientific expertise, creating a cascade of consciousness-altering waves that rippled through spacetime. The Genesis ship's crystalline structure began to pulse with conflicting energies, the ancient darkness of conquest battling with the new light of cooperation. Around it, the remaining loyal Vraxan fleet started to transform, their ships changing from weapons of war into instruments of peace. The quantum field is stable, Jasmine reported. Transformation protocols are spreading exponentially through their network. Ambassador Thiela's skin displayed patterns of awe. The Ancient One, it's changing. The massive Genesis ship's dark crystal surface gradually began to illuminate with the same peaceful blue glow as its transformed children. The Ancient One's image on their screen shifted, its multidimensional form becoming something new, neither purely warrior or purely peaceful, but a perfect synthesis of strength and wisdom. We understand now, the Ancient One's voice had changed, becoming harmonious rather than commanding. For eons, we sought to perfect ourselves through dominance. But true perfection lies in unity. In becoming more than the sum of our parts. Rohan smiled, watching as the last of the Vraxan fleet completed their transformation. That's the thing about evolution, sometimes the best path forward isn't the one you originally chose. Dr. Sharma's voice carried barely contained excitement, the transformation is complete and stable. The entire Vraxan species has been successfully upgraded. Their warrior instincts haven't been eliminated, they've been redirected toward protecting and nurturing other civilizations. The Ancient One's form shifted again, now resembling a brilliant crystalline star. Humanity has taught us that true power lies not in conquest, but in elevation. We offer our knowledge, all that we have learned in our millennia of existence, to this new alliance. Ambassador Thiela moved their four arms in a pattern of formal treaty-making. The Nexary Collective welcomes this new era of cooperation. Together, we can achieve what none of us could alone. As the three fleets began to coordinate their return to Earth to formalize their alliance, Rohan looked out at the transformed ships, once enemies, now allies. Humanity's first major interstellar conflict had ended not with destruction, but with transcendence. Commander, Jasmine called out, we're receiving messages from dozens of systems. Word of what happened here is spreading. Other civilizations are requesting to join our alliance. Rohan nodded, understanding the magnitude of what they'd achieved. Humanity hadn't just survived another challenge, they'd fundamentally changed the course of galactic history. Not through superior firepower or advanced technology alone, but through their unique ability to imagine better solutions and bring out the best in others. The stars seemed brighter somehow as the combined fleet set course for Earth, carrying with them the promise of a new age of exploration, cooperation, and growth. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly what humanity had hoped for all along.